I'd like to welcome you to the latest Denny Artachi Show podcast. And I'm very excited about this particular episode, which I spoke to a couple of podcasts before. So today's day 79 of an amazing transformation that I want to share with my listeners. And I'm planning to really do more speaking on the topic. As it is now, I'm talking to a major publication that wants to do the story with me. But basically what happened, and tomorrow, day 80, I was planning to do the show, but something came up, and you know how life is. But I want to get into it. 79 days ago, I decided to embark in an incredible journey. And this is something that I've been researching, documenting. Well, 79 days ago, I just went ahead and did it. And if some of you know me as friends or business partners, you know that whenever I do something, I don't stick my toe into the water. I just jump in first. And then I ask how deep the water is, or maybe I don't even ask that. So what happened was I decided to do something different. And my life had been good. So I've always been a successful high performer. I played in famous bands years ago. I have an excellent financial services business, and the estate planning is really taking off. But I always felt something was kind of, needed some alignment, as the saying goes. So I did an experiment, and I decided to, first of all, eliminate all toxins that I was ingesting. So that included drinking alcohol. That included, I'm an old rock and roller, so of course the topic of cannabis would come across, casually on people. And I also changed at the same time my eating habits. So what did I do? I decided to just eat whole foods, vegetables, get rid of the bad carbs that I was consuming, because I love rice, pizza, pasta, fried foods, and things like that. So here's what happened, and I documented the journey. I reset my whole nervous system. Now, you don't have to be an alcoholic for alcohol to have consequences in your life. But I'm not going to devote this right now to those things. I just want to explain to you, and I'm not judging anyone who still drinks or decides to eat what they do. I'm just sharing with you what worked for me, because I'm the happiest and calmest that I've ever been in my life. And there were some things that I did. What I'm describing is living in alignment, resetting the nervous system. I don't think any of us are broken. I just think many of us, including me, can be misaligned. So when we remove things that affect my blood pressure, by the way, right now has been the best it's ever been. So is my heart rate. And I'm physically 25 pounds lighter. Now think about that. I lift weights. So in 79 days to be 25 pounds lighter, excellent blood pressure readings, heart rates, I'm onto something. The thing about it was, I'm not a motivational self-help guru kind of guy. I just want to point out that many of those types give you a long list of things that you have to do. I didn't do that. I didn't put mantras. I will be happy. I will do this, and I will. What I did is I just decided to remove what no longer served me. So that started off with the food. And then it went into the thoughts. Did you know, by the way, that there are so many things that we can't control in life? I know you may say you know that, but do you behave that way? Because I noticed that the only things that I could really control were my breath, were my thought process, and whether or not I wanted to respond to something. And if I did respond, how I was going to respond instead of reacting. And the big thing was the pause. Now, it first started with the physiology, because this is science what I did. I totally changed how I was eating, which affected my nervous system, which got me aligned and calmer to make better decisions, which led to me feeling happier. So think about it. All listening. Have you made the best decisions when you were calm or when you were excited or agitated? I know we know the answer, but these are the kind of things that I want to pose to you. So When I started aligning my body and calming it down, my mind also followed. And then I started noticing that I wouldn't respond to things like I used to. Again, I'm a type A personality, always a high achiever. I was always in a rush to get things done. What has happened in this calming process, I've slowed everything down. So now the days are longer, and not in a bad way, in a good way. You ever get home after a busy day and you're like, oh my God, where did the day go? How about a week? How about a month? How about a year? I think that happens when we don't slow down to really live in the moments and be present. So of course we feel it's gone. We're still thinking about what we're looking forward to or having to do, and we're not enjoying the very present moment. This also affected my personal relationships, both in my significant other, my friendships, and also my mom. I love my mom, but it's been challenging because she has dementia, and every day's a new adventure, so to speak. But it's also affected my business. The estate planning has blown up exponentially. I'm still just getting started on it, where I'm actually going to be teaching advisors around training them around the country. I'm certainly helping my clients with it, but in my opinion, so the 3 books was Does It Serve My Higher Self was the first one. So everything I did, I asked myself, hey, this food that you're about to consume, does it serve your higher self? Is it going to get you slimmer? Because I wanted to lose weight. I had a Michelin spare tire that I kept putting air in it. So I intentionally said, look, just try giving up what's been getting you here so you can get there, right? Does it serve my higher self? Everything. That included if something came across or someone said something that normally would agitate me, I would pause, because the pause is the biggest thing, right? We can all decide if we want to react to something or pause, think about it, and then see how we want to respond. Try it. It's amazing. Oh my God, it's so enlightening. It's a path of freedom. The other thing is, I found that I was more open to things not going my way. So if I paused, thought about it, and responded and not reacted, something better might have been coming around. And I had a lot of examples of this. I was doing some shows and gigs where literally drunks would come on stage and do something that would normally agitate me, which I found it kind of laughable. The other thing is, during this whole process of calming the nervous system, because that's the key, being calm, realigning how we respond to things, it put everything in focus. So I was living in the present, and I stopped judging what was happening to me. In life, we don't have to judge everything that we witness. We just have to observe it. And the pause will let us think about it and go, well, do I have to respond? Is it in my control? Okay, it's not in my control. I can't change it. So then maybe I should just let it go. And you're going to feel so empowered when you do that. So I kept asking myself, the first premise of the first book, does it serve my higher self? What I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and if it doesn't, then we need to let it go. It no longer belongs in our life. The second book I put, which I thought went well with it, so it's a trilogy of books, The Power of Calm. And then the third one is titled How to Be Happy. So all of it were things that I had read and studied, and I was documenting this transformation because, again, I changed my diet, I changed my thought process. I decided that I'm no longer going to react to everything. I'm going to pause, think about it, and then decide whether I'm going to respond. Now, the diet thing, some of you say, well, I could never do that. Well, I understand, but if we really want to be optimal, it's going to have to take effort. You're looking at a person who used to be at one time on 3 blood pressure medications, and now that's down to 0. It didn't happen in the last 72 days, but it kept getting better and better. But what I can tell you, or did I say 72? Yes, I did. 79 days, 80 days tomorrow. My blood pressure is the best it's ever been in my life. And I credit it because of my eating habits. I credit it because I don't let things bother me as much. I want to talk about also recently, one of my favorite people that I ever had the pleasure of meeting and the honor of knowing the last few years was a World War II veteran named Carmen Yanada. He's been on a couple of my podcasts. So I'm going to his service on Thursday. Today is Tuesday, February 17th. I don't know when I'll release this podcast. But Carmine, or Carmen as some people call, he loved life. He thought he was the luckiest man in the world. So this is a guy that went to World War II. Talk about commitment. His dream was to play for the Yankees. He was getting ready to try out for the Yankees. But World War II came and he loved this country. He decided to serve instead. Early on, he goes there. And I think within the first week or two, a bomb goes off. He gets unconscious. And when he wakes up, he was rescued by a French priest. His two great friends were dead. So here he was early on dealing with this. He was part of Normandy, Battle of the Bulge, and General Patton's army. And Carmen saw this. He witnessed all these things, and he said, God, please, if I make it back, I promise you I'll have the best life in the world. And he certainly did. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. After his second tour was about over, he was looking forward to coming home. And so then what happened was, they said, we have one more assignment for you. He said, great. What could that be? And Carmen went and rescued Holocaust survivors. I could spend a whole episode sharing what he described to me, which was so horrific. And this is so unbelievable that Carmen felt he was not a hero. Because you see, in his mind, he made it back, while his friends did not. I said, Carmen, I'm sorry, you're a hero. You rescued Holocaust survivors. The reason I bring him up, one thing I always noticed from him immediately, and I loved him and he loved me, he was always grateful. So how many of us are grateful? When I was going through this transformation, I had forgotten to be grateful of my health, the house that I have, the business that I have. And you see, when we transform and calm ourselves and decide to live intentionally and in alignment, doesn't mean life's going to get easier. Doesn't mean we're going to sail through easiness and we're never going to be angry or bitter or any of the emotions that go on a daily basis sometimes, depending on what's going on in our life. But the difference is we give them a short shelf life. We're able to pause, think about it, and decide in a minute or two, okay, well, I know I can't do anything about it, so I'm going to move on and not let it ruin the rest of my day, the joy in my day. Because remember, we don't have to react to everything. We don't have to judge everything. We certainly have no control over situations that happen, whether people like us, the outcomes that we were planning, and certainly whether or not life is fair. Now, I started talking about changing my diet. Please don't live in a disillusion to thinking that you can just think positively and everything's going to work. You have to take care of your body. I go to the gym every week. Most of the time 5 days, sometimes 4, sometimes 3, depending on my schedule. But we have to move. We have to take care of the body. And we've got to do this daily. We have to make time for it. Don't kid yourself and think that I don't have time to exercise, because if you don't make time, then you will suffer in other ways. The other thing is, we really do have control of our mind and our thoughts. It may take practice because, again, years of being a type A personality, and I am a veteran myself. I was a decorated Army veteran. every sales organization that I've been involved in, I've usually been a top producer. That's really not my goal anymore as much pushing. My goal is to not force anything in life. And you think about that. Can we really force anything in life? The answer is probably not. No, we can't force anything. I'll go ahead and throw it out there. So, as we're taking care of our body and we're controlling our mind, this will keep us open and present. So that's why the days will not be as short. Something simple like eating a meal or fixing something that is in the way. If we take time to enjoy it and understand that, hey, this is kind of cool, because the reality is so many out there, including listening to this program, they're not as lucky as you and I are. I don't have any major health issues. I'm not suffering from disease. I get to wake up every day and be grateful and make it a new day and live intentionally. Life is made to be curious. We can't control the outcome, so why don't we stay open to what may happen if we're open to it? We have to protect our joy and our calmness. We also have to watch the circles that we run around with, right? Because not everyone is on the same pace of development. And now this is not to judge anyone. I can tell you personally that recently I've been out, I still play music, and I've explained to my friends that I just no longer drink. And they go, oh, why not? Well, because I lost weight and I kind of like that. And even though I'm not an alcoholic, I've drank too much many times in my life where I felt like crap the next day and it got in the way. So I said, hey, let me see what I feel like by eliminating it. And I feel wonderful, awesome. I'm not missing anything. Again, I'm not judging anyone. I've gone out with friends that I've said this to, and they still ask me, hey, would you like a drink? And I don't get offended or mad. I just go, no, I'm good. They don't remember that I just told them that, hey, I'm good. I'm living intentionally and I don't need it. So I'm not here to judge anyone that they still partake in, but I want to share with you what worked for me. I lost a lot of weight. I feel good. I'm sleeping better. I'm living intentionally. I'm very calm. I'm happy. I'm no longer stressing out over things that I was stressing out when I reset my nervous system. We have to, us human beings, we have to not let external forces change what we're doing and what we're thinking, because they come and go. My first book, Thoughts to Live By, I had 17 topics that I felt if you mastered, you could really do well in life. And there were things like anger, blame, expectations, a lot of good thoughts. But what I didn't put into detail in that book was the calming of the nervous system and changing the diet and being in alignment. I mean, I love the book. It was years ago that I published it. I actually have coached and taught students on it, and I've had a lot of good positive feedback from it. But I'm definitely excited about the new direction with the 3 books. Does it serve your higher self? The Power of Calm, and How to Be Happy. Now, what we used to think is inconvenient when you're in this new path is actually joyous and fun to witness and go through. Try it. Change what you're eating, okay? Definitely exercise. Control your thoughts. Pause before you react. And think about whether something needs a response. And certainly, don't let someone else having a bad day ruin your day. It has very little to do with you and more to do with them. God knows I've been there. I've had some bad days, or I've worn my trouble on my sleeve. And it's just not conducive to a happy, calm life. I also think that having unrealistic expectations and having an overabundant ego is a great way to ruin the chances of you being calm and happy. So when you remove the toxins, when you change your thought process, when you slow it down, Something as simple as breathing. Let's take something that a lot of people, they just overlook it. I found that I was holding my gut in because, again, I was sporting a Michelin tire and I was putting air in it every day. So I said, well, I can't let my belly hang. I've got to hold it in to look better. But then I researched that that technique creates more cortisol, which means it's going to stunt or get in the way of shrinking the belly, which is what I've been working at. So even though the scale says less, I kind of like looking in a mirror now saying, okay, it's small. I still need a little bit more, but it's certainly a lot less than what it used to be. And how did I do that? Not overnight, not from some injection, but by changing my dietary intake, exercising, getting enough sleep, and calming the nervous system down. So nutrition, I look at food now as information, not a reward or something that I deserve because I had a rough day. I know advertisers, they make a great living saying, hey, you know you want to have fun by eating this. Even though it's, 2,000 calories and 100 grams of fat, look how much fun people are having with this, when it's just not true. Same thing with the drinking. I know that they have said that moderate drinking is good for you. I beg to differ and say that probably was a tainted study, because if alcohol is actually a class 1 carcinogen that's equal to asbestos and arsenic, I don't think any level is safe. But the other thing is, what is a safe amount anyway, right? You may have 1 or 2, which leads to 3 and 4, and it gets in the way and it's empty calories. What I can tell you is it reset my nervous system, and I know it increased my metabolism by not having it because it's got sugar. It turns into sugar. But the bad carbs as well kind of helped me. Again, I love bread. I loved eating bread, rice, pizza. And I don't feel like I'm on a diet. I had a joke that if it had more than 4 ingredients, I probably don't want to eat it. So I'm sticking to proteins, vegetables, some fruits. Have I had some cheat days? Yeah, but few and far between. Haven't had a cheat day with the alcohol because this is just something that I feel no longer serves me in my life. That's all. Not to judge anybody. I mean, I'm just sharing what worked for me. And so I believe that happiness is not when something happens to us, like we get the better job, or when people start behaving better, or when they've apologized, or when life gets fair and easy. No, happiness is a decision and a choice and reflection of our habits, our intentional living, and our controlled thoughts. I remember Earl Nightingale, who was famous for the strangest secret was attitude, right? So Carmen, who's one of my heroes, he decided to be happy no matter what. You couldn't tell him life wasn't the greatest thing. He would tell you. And he loved everybody that he met. So ask yourself, who do you want to be in the face of adversity or tough times? Do you want to be that calm, relaxed, happy person? Or do you want to be like the herd and you want to get all stressed out and worry about things that we really have no control over, which includes outcomes to situations, how people respond to us, whether they like us, whether we close that deal or not. These are things that are out of our control. What we can control is to live intentionally, live in the moment, and decide that happiness is a choice, not a byproduct of outcomes. Now, I'm planning to do a series of specific topics and get into more detail, but I wanted to also tell you that my books are available on Amazon, Ingram Spark, Barnes & Nobles. What I'd like to do is really go on the lecture circuit because there's only so many books that I'm going to sell anyway. But I would like to speak to high-performing people, high earners, and really anyone in general who would like to change what they're doing with the thought process of living a peaceful, calmer life. You see, for me, happiness used to be a lot of noise, a lot of excitement. I felt alive. Now it's more like I feel calm and relaxed, and I can handle anything that's thrown my way. That to me makes me happier. And happiness is a choice that I've decided. What I can tell you is it has poured over into the success of my business, my personal relationships, even my musical aspirations. Recently, I've noticed that I've approached it from a different perspective, and I've enjoyed it more. So, I hope that this particular episode lands well for you. I'm here to tell you that you can call my office line 561-537-5897. 561-537-5897. And I want you to call if you have perhaps a group of people that you're looking for speakers. If you'd like to know more about which book to purchase, I can tell you the nuance and difference of each one. And also to let you know that what I've gone through, you can go through. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. You can change your perception. You can reset your nervous system. You can live intentionally. You can be aligned. You can eat better. You can exercise. You can deal with situations that used to trigger you, and you can remain calm in this chaotic world. I've said before that it's really hard for me to watch the news on a consistent daily basis because I can only desensitize myself so much. And the fact of the matter is, pretty much everything I see in the news, I can do nothing about. I guess I can look at it and go, gee, I have a better life than they do. But it's a bummer. I hate to see such turmoil and such negativity that's out there. I still believe we live in the best of times in many ways. We have access to us so much information. The standard of living, I know some will disagree if you look at the educational system and the fact that the lifespan has gone down, but I really believe that our health and lifespan has gone down because people are no longer paying attention to how they're eating, exercising, and how they're controlling their mind with situations that come up, because stress is arguably the biggest killer out there, along with cancer, heart disease. But Carmen, I think that God put him in front of me because he reminded me that life is worth living if you know how to enjoy it, which is a famous statement from my late uncle. He said, life is good if you know how to enjoy it. Life is bad if you don't know how to enjoy it. And he lived to be 93 years old. And he was a diabetic, and he didn't exactly have the most optimal health. But I look at many people who live long lives. They have a few things in common. One of them is they're grateful, they're happy, intentionally happy. Not because they had the best life, because they decided that they were going to make the best life with the hand that they were dealt. And you think about that, it's never too late. You can start right now. Right now as you're hearing this. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start now. Write your thoughts down. Document how you're eating. Put some goals down. Put some goals on, hey, you know what? It could be I'm just going to start walking. I'm going to do something for exercise. Maybe if I'm still, maybe I cut it off at 2 drinks. Or maybe I don't have a double dessert after dinner. Whatever is getting you closer to your goal, do it. You'll feel much better. It'll raise your self-esteem. And what I'm saying to you is, There are many people who had fast transformations like I did that never look back. Because many people say, well, you could maybe have a relapse. Maybe you're going to go back to bourbon scotch and chicken wings and pizza all night long. Well, anything's possible, but I feel so good that I don't really see it as likely. So again, remember that you are in control of what you eat, how you think, if you respond, and how you respond. Does it serve your higher self? Does it keep your joy and peace? Is the end game going to be something positive or negative? I always make a joke that arguing with the wrong person is like arguing with a coffee cup. That's not a narcissistic way to think. They're not beneath us. But if our goal is to remain calm and peaceful and have joy, why would we engage in an exercise that we know is going nowhere? The other thing is, I don't have to be right. I love being wrong. I crack myself up when I find out that I got something wrong. And that's awesome. We human beings, we can laugh at ourselves much more if we realize how, silly we can be, or even boneheaded at times. But if we can learn from it, isn't that a great gift, right? Of course it is. So think about it. Write it down. If you'd like copies of my books, by do so, buy them, or talk to me. I'd be happy to share that. Life is great, and I believe it's going to continue. So I wanted to share that with this particular episode, and maybe in the next few I'll go into detail on certain topics because I believe they're very important. But these are the basics, and the basics are changing nutrition, changing the thought, changing the reactions, and keeping first and foremost the intentional way that we'd like to be. Because remember, happiness is not determined on outside external forces, things that happen to us. It is a choice that no matter what, I'm going to be happy and deal with it. But you have to train your body and mind to do so, which means eating well, exercising, moving, and controlling your thoughts so that they don't spiral. Again, I hope you get something out of this episode, and I'll see you the next time on the Denny Artachi Show.